Alright, so welcome to part 2 of the ESP and Aimbot series. In this part we will find the memory addresses, offsets, pointers, everything reversing the structures of Assault Cube to use for our Aimbot and ESP. So the information that we will need to find, I can show you guys in the final project, is the viewmatrix, localplayer, entitylist, the head, which is a vector, the feet, also a vector, angles, I think it's a vector, the third value is a 0 every time it seems, but whatever, the view angles, and health, current ammo, the name of the character, the string, and the team, so we can tell enemies and teammates apart and paint teammates green, enemies red. So let's minimize these things or take into the next screen. Open Assault Cube. There we go. Let me just change. So equip the assault rifle for this one, so everyone has the same weapon. I like to use the sniper rifle, but for the sake of simpleness, use the assault rifle. Then go single player mode. Go down to bot settings first of all. Idle bots, check that. This will make it so the bots doesn't hurt us. Choose whatever skill level, they will just stand still. Choose 2-2 and whatever map you want. This map is great, Deuce. It's open and it looks nice. I like the architecture. But we're in game, we have some bots to work with. Now we will open Sheet Onion. Alright, there we go. I wanted to clarify some things before we dive into Sheet Onion and Assault Cube and so on, and that's pointers. Not understanding basic things about them will make making this aimbot or ESP a real pain. So a pointer is an address, and when you read it, instead of returning your ammo or whatever, it returns a new address of a new object. So here is an example. A pointer, which when we read returns a new address. These are just examples. They don't mean anything, but as you can see, it doesn't have to be +1, it doesn't have to be, it can return a new location in memory, a new address. And when we talk about offsets, we add something to this pointer. So here we have an address plus an offset, so 100 plus 14, and this can example return the health. So in this case 100 would be the base of the player, and when you add an offset, the 14, it, oh, what's going on? Oh my, wait. There we go. When we add 14, it returns our health. This can also return, or you can have multiple offsets, and that can be a bit tricky at first, but when reading multiple offsets, it just means we're pointing to from one where to another and finally to our destination. It doesn't have to be harder. However, when you have multiple offsets, so here we could have the base of the player plus 14, this can be another object, so maybe the position or something else is an object in itself, and this 18 offset is a field inside this 14 object, then we would have to read into that. But you can't just add them all together, because this would just be 14 plus 18 plus 100. The correct way is to read first off your base address from this. Maybe it's the player, so the player starts at the address 100. We read into the first object, which is at the offset 14. After reading into that, we read the offset 18, and this can be whatever, we don't really care, but please read one offset off at a time. You can build scripts to read a lot of offsets, so you don't have to read each individual offset, but just remember, one at a time is the way to do it. Alright, with that cleared off, let's go into the Assault Cube reversing classes tutorial, or course. Thank you guys for tuning in. So, get Sheet Onion if you don't have it. Select Assault Cube as the process. Here, we are ready to get into it. We will find our local player, which is our player object first, and find a static pointer. So I learned this from Guided Hacking. They have really good content on everything you will need on reversing games and so on. Check them out if you haven't. They make really awesome content on YouTube. But the process Assault Cube, these enemies and all of the objects, when they are created, so when they spawn in, they are dynamically allocated into your memory. So these won't have the same address every time. You can't just get one address and expect it to work on any computer and after you have closed the game. Because of that, we will have to find a static, which is always working method to find these objects. One common way to do that is take the copied exe, so a part of the application is allocated in memory at an always in a non-changing address, so it's 4 and a lot of zeros. It's similar if you have worked with other C++ games or something like that, but they are static. So if you find something that points from this static area to these objects, it might work as an entity list or local player. I will show you guys how you can do that pretty easily and quickly, and that is to equip the main weapon. So you can see the ammo on screen, you can see the health on screen and the grenade on screen. These values are fields of the player class, so if we find one of these values, we can hopefully trace them back to our player. Let's search for the ammo of the rifle. Shoot 16. Search again. We have two addresses, both show the value 16, but only one should change when we change here. So 13, the other one is, let's change that to 111 and see if the other one goes to 0. So This one shows our current ammo. So current ammo. Let's remove the other one. Now, since we need something to point from the static base address to this one, we can just click or right click pointer scan for this address. So you won't even have to find out what writes to this address and so on. You can just pointer scan, which this made getting into this line of, not line of work, I don't work with this, but this hobby was pointer scanning made it incredibly easy. So set the max level of offset to something low in the beginning. This will filter out these long shot pointers, which often are wrong, so you should trust pointers with less offsets rather than pointers with a lot of offsets. That in my case. We'll set it to 2. We'll call it There we go. So a lot of pointers here. You can see that some of these are even now not pointing to 89. So if you want to remove these quickly, you can just click on rescan for memory. Oh, go away. Value to find, and then type in whatever. So we don't even have to restart the application to filter these ones out. Just add a 2. And now we have 28 paths. Let's restart Assault Cube and check if these pointers are pointing to our ammo again. As you can see now, it points to nothing. That's because we haven't attached sheet engine yet. Click yes. It doesn't matter. We haven't clicked any of these. So here we have the pointer scan again. If you just drag your mouse over this, all of these non-working ones should display a question mark or nothing. We can rescan memory and use value to find again. We have 20 ammo, so search again. There we go. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I said earlier that we will use the copied exe. So click these 3, and now we have some potential pointers for the local player. All of these points to the same place. They originate from the base, the copied exe. And to look into this address, you can just hit Ctrl B. You should get this window up. You can see the name quickly. And structures define new structure. And is this the one? So it seems to be the one. And there you have it. 20 ammo. This is a bit far off from the origin or the player base. So if we do find out what writes to this address. Oh, it doesn't matter. We can just double click on it and you will see the offset here. We don't need to use find out what writes to this address. So if you just double click, you can get the offset here. So the offset for ammo, open Notepad. Everyone has Notepad. And player class. So current ammo equals 140. You can use 0x if you want. Doesn't really matter as long as we understand it. We have You can quickly check that no one shows anything different. Everyone shows 140, so we should be fine. As long as these pointers work, of course, over time. But they did work after we restarted the game, so I have high hopes. Let's remove this offset, which takes us back 140 bytes. So click off that, and we have this address, which will point to the same stuff on all of these, so we don't need to check these ones. Control B again, and now you will see this green part for some reason. Right click, browse this memory region. Why does it show green? It seems to be static. Well, who cares? Dissect data / structures. Define new structure. And if you look here, Sheet Engine even gives you a hint that this is a player entity. So it's entity class rather. If we go deeper, so you just click this little arrow, you will see a lot of information pop up. So 100, 100, 100 might be the health. We don't know yet. We need to change it in game and take a look here again to check. But all of this information probably has something to do with our player. You can see some floats here. By the way, all of these data types are guessed by Sheet Engine, so one other way to have a better look at this would be to have multiple data types as at a time. So to do that, you might need reclass or something else. But if we do something in game, you can see values are changing. There were free floats in the beginning. They are a bit suspicious. If we move, they seem to change. If we jump, only the last one or the third one changes, which I'll guess this is a vector, so it's either our feet or our head position is my guess. If we go lower, here we have 4 bytes. These might be wrong by Sheet Engine, who knows, but here we have the same X position again. We have the same Y, and instead of 5.5 here, we have 1 as the last float value in a vector. So a vector is just 3 floats in a row. If we jump, it seems to also change with our vertical position. My guess, this is our head, since it's 5 units higher than this one. But we need to write this down so we can use it. Current ammo was 140. We'll call this head pos, which starts at 4 bytes. You do not need to write more because we know it's a 3D position which is 3 byte or 3 floats. So the next one is at 28 bytes. We'll write it down, feet position. We didn't need to write the 0x. We have our feet position mapped out. Now we will need some view angles and health. We already have the ammo name and team, so the view angles they probably are in the player or the entity class. So in this game there are, so it would be really easy for this one, but view angles might be in a different object or pointing to something else. So in that case, find another pointer to use for those ones. But view angles, just move your mouse, and if you look at Sheet Onion, only 2 addresses are showing different values from when we move the mouse around, and those are this one, or this and this. You can see that Sheet Onion got this one wrong. It's float instead of 4 bytes, so to change that, just double click and click float. So Sheet Onion won't always get it right. You will have to do some actual guessing yourself and research. So now we have 2 floats instead. If we aim directly up, it shows 90 degrees. If we aim directly down, minus 90. So seems like some angles. If we move to the left, it goes from, or it goes minus, it's 100 or 360 degrees in a circle, which means these are probably view angles and we could use them. Let's check if we can force a new view angle. So double click on it and change it to something else. You can see that in game the character changed angle. So we have found some probably reliable view angles, which are at the offset, was it 34 or 38? 34. View angles. Okay. What else? What else? We have a lot of information already, but we will need our health. So we can check maybe if the enemy is dead or not. There probably is a boolean for that as well, so you maybe don't really need the health offset, but we'll find it anyways. 100. Let's find a grenade to change that. I don't know this map. I'm not a Assault Cube veteran, sorry. I went there already. Oh, come on, dude. Do I really have to cut this? Alright. Got some Kevlar. That's cool. Finally, a grenade and a share. So, 100. Wow. That's sad. We could just change the values inside Sheet Onion, but 73. Let's go back to Sheet Onion. Nothing up here. That shows 73. These ones are still 100. So, would you look at that? Not everything is what it seems. Here we have 73. If we change it to 100 again. Wow, amazing. We found the health offset as well. Health easy. Now we need a name. I can find mine there, which is the 205. Name 205. Now we need a team. You could find another entity and find similarities and contrasts from your character, and that way tell if it's an enemy or not. But in Assault Cube you seem to just... Can you do that? Oh no. Oh, that worked. So you can change the team by writing change team in the chat or command prompt, and this way we can check if something changes, like 0 to 2 or 0 to 1, whatever. I'll just quickly skim through this. We have a 1 there, a byte. I think it is a byte. We have something there. And that's it for this one. We'll scroll down after we have checked if these ones change. It might also be the def offset, who knows. So this one changed, B4, and it's back to 1 after we have respawn. B4 might be a dead offset, because it changed from 0 to 1 and back to 1 after we have respawned, and not to a different number, even though we changed team. So not a team number. We'll write that one down. I didn't know that offset before I made this video, so that's new for me as well. That offset, you find stuff when you go through. So we'll select all of the ones. If it is a 0, which it could be, I would be in bad luck because probably wouldn't see it change. But I'll take a guess that it's 1 to 2 or 1 to 0. Change team. So these ones change, but they're back to 1 and nothing in our interest. Let's scroll further. Here we have a 2, 3, 3, 5. Let's change team. Oh, my bad. So this one is 4 now. Let's change back. If it goes to 3. Well, it shows 5, so not the one. Let's scroll further. There is a lot of 0s. Let's just change team and nothing. I think. Let's go further down. Here we have 1. 1, 1, 1. Oh, it did change from 0 to 1. And now it's 0. So if we change now, it should take us back to 1 if it's the team offset. And 1. So 30C. Wow. Amazing. These things might take a lot of time, so you will have to be patient. Team 30C. Alright. We have hopefully the correct offsets for our entity class. You could check this by just taking another entity and adding the offset to confirm things. So it should be another team, should be another name, so on. Let's go into a bots game, single player, bots, settings, idle bots, and team deathmatch, not deathmatch. doesn't matter the skill because we have turned off or turned on idle bots. So when we're here, we have 3 bots here. One is my teammate, the blue one. We have dude over here, he's in the red team. Now we will try to find an entity list which holds all of these guys. Maybe us as well. I don't think so in Assault Cube, but there will be a list of all of these guys. We know that the health when you start is 100, which means if we just shoot him in the foot and search for decreased value, pow, again, it's not this one, it's this with the 56 and 12. We know that the offset, which is easy. This means we can just pointer scan now again. We will have, so for our first pointer scan, these ones, it was only one offset. So you had the base and then one offset. Games, they, for example, in source engine, you have you don't have a object for the entity list. You just have a lot of addresses in a row which points to these entities. In Assault Cube, you have a object which holds all of the entities together, so there will be an offset before this offset on top, and you might, this is something you'll just have to find out, and since we might not know in other games, we can just search for more offsets, which probably is the case when you're using entities, but we can narrow it down by using pointers must end with a specific offset. This means we can use our health offset to make sure that it's an entity. Well, it's going to point to the same position, but I don't know. We can use this either way. I like to use it. Search or create a new pointer scan entity. Entities. I spelled it wrong, but it doesn't matter. We have 223 pointers. A lot of these are .dlls, which are other modules. They do have they can also be static, but using the exe is your best strategy for most games. Won't work for all, but it's your best bet. Now, since we want something reliable, it probably has the same, or it's pointing to one of these players, one of these 3, again, even if we're restarting the game. This means we can just close down Assault Cube, open Assault Cube again. What? Dude, man, I hate that browser. It's so bad, and Windows keeps pushing. My bad. I've talked for a long time. Let me drink some liquid. Otherwise, my voice will just go. We'll leave. Attached to Assault Cube again. And now it points to nothing because we don't have any bots yet. Let's add some bots. 2v2 again. Don't put more bots, that will just compromise stuff. Use do's. Oh, I forgot bot settings. That's my bad. Now they will be damaged. So, bot team deathmatch. Create a new one. 2v2. There we go. So they are resetted, and the cool thing is we can just search for 100 because we know they're full health. Value to find 100. Wow, amazing. Here we have only 16 paths, nothing with another module. My bet would be it's one of the pointers with the least amount of offsets, which you can just click on like the second one and you will get the ones with 2 offsets. If you click one, well, click one of these until you get the pointers with the least amount of offsets. Now that we have some maybe perhaps it's not confirmed reliable entity lists, we can click these ones and investigate. So we know that this is the health offset, so remove offset and remove, well, just remove everything. Go back to the base and browse this memory region. Dissect/data structures, define new. And there we go. So click on the pointer path because it's pointing to this address or this list. Here we have at the 4 bytes down, we have pointer to instance of bot entity. Wow, amazing. Here you have player ent. So is this us? Seems like it. So here we have our player. That's crazy. Here you have the map. So this could be something useful, or a lot of useful information maybe. If we take a look at this one, scroll down to 205, which was our name offset number. So it's this guy. Go to the second bot end. Dunno. Wow. How interesting. We can see all of the bot entities here. We can see our player ent. Here we have more bot entities. So we might read our own position and add it to the list, which can be a problem. However, this one points to our player. No, this one points to our player address. So if you find an entity which is in the entity list that points out to the local player, just remove it. It's as easy as that. But we have our list of these pointers. Just add a couple of them, and I think my bet would be this and this, since it's just 2 offsets. And you can take a look at the next one, the 19. Where are you? This is the one. Remove offsets. Browse memory region. Define new structure. There we go. This one starts at 0. And it has the same type of stuff, kinda. I can't see the do's here. maybe it guessed wrong. So both of these pointers have all of the entities here. Our choice is to use one of these. I think I will use the first, or this one. Well, it will work either way. So we'll rename these entity list. We can keep this ones if we might need them later. Let's write what we know down. I think this is our local player. So this was our current ammunition. We have the address. You don't need to copy this every time. We know it's from the exe. Local player. Well, copy. I said I would use the second one. Entitylist. There we go. The only thing we have left is the viewmatrix. So you can also find this tutorial on guided hacking. It shows you how to find the viewmatrix in any game. It works wonders in Assault Cube. So how you do is you aim up, search for 1 in float. My bad, float. No, not that one. Float, 0.0000. Aim down. Now it's -1. 0.0000. And you repeat. Am I aiming up? In Assault Cube, it will be one of the static ones. They copy the exe. If we copy both, put them down here. Let's not. We will browse this memory region, and instead of going into the dissect data structures, we'll use the hex viewer here. So instead of hex, we'll do floats and you can resize it to fit 4 values. You have the 1, and you have a lot of different values here, which change when you move in game. If you jump and move, you can see that it's some sort of a camera position that changes. We can see that it begins with this one. Let's align it, so Control G and enter to go to that one. You don't really know which one it starts with when you're looking for a view matrix, if you don't know how they wrote the game. So Assault Cube uses DirectX. You can use the multi-screen method for DirectX games on Assault Cube. So if we take a look at the first value that changed and look at this matrix, view matrix has our 16 floats in a row, so 4 down, 4 to the 4 columns and 4 rows. This could be a view matrix, we don't know yet, we'll have to test it. We changed stuff, our character position or camera position moves. Here we have something that looks like a view matrix. We will copy that take the calculator, programmer. Oh yeah, this one is before. No, it will just return something wrong. We take the first one because that's the one we took a look at, minus, and then paste. So 6C was that the value that we examined? Yeah, alright, we're Gucci. Minus 6C might be viewmatrix. I think it's a lot easier to find the viewmatrix when you have coded the voltage screen method and so on. So we have found addresses which points to that direction, and we can test all of these guys later. So we will test this one, we will test the next one, if it's aligned that way. We'll test this one. I don't know if these other guys are, they don't look like, maybe. We'll test all of these guys. We'll also test the ones here. They might be in the same place, just a bit apart. But we have found sort of viewmatrix. We have found the location of the viewmatrix, rather, and we will document this. So there we go. We have the entity class, we have the other information that we needed. You could find other information about the server and so on, but not needed. I don't know how long this video was. It might be 2 videos splitted. Let me check how long I recorded for. 43 minutes. Yeah, that will be 2 videos. That's far too long for anyone to stay focused. I'm sorry for it taking so long time, but I wanted this video to be non-scripted and a bit of a look into how I investigate my games and so on. If something wasn't that good explained, tell me in the comments, and perhaps learn something from guided hacking and so on, and then come back. I will see you guys in the next part. Stay awesome. Oh, I stole that from Serpenta. Alright, whatever. See you guys. Love you. Subscribe and like.